Hey everyone, welcome to another VRChat world, though this time it's going to be slightly different than what we've done before because, well, this is a map that I've created. You might have seen updates that I've posted in either the YouTube community section on this channel or a ton of update posts I made on Twitter about this, but I've been working on a project for just a little over a month now where I have been recreating something that I really enjoyed. Welcome to the Invincible, a recreation of the ship from the YouTube series In Space With Markiplier. Where I've made like updates on Twitter, you really can't get a whole lot of information out on video since they limit it to like 2 minutes. So I thought I'd make a bigger video showing this whole thing off. I wanted to show it off sooner, but I kind of agreed with myself that I would probably finish the project first and then show it off to be able to say like, hey, it's its complete package and you can come visit, you can come check it out in VRChat. Obviously, we started in the warp core. The warp core room is actually the very first thing that I modeled, and it was going to be the only thing that I did. It was going to be just this area and a mirror, and it's just a place to chill, maybe find people who were also interested in talking about, you know, either the series or Markiplier. And I kind of thought about the idea of expanding it with maybe the bridge and the hallway leading up to the warp core, because for some reason a lot of people seem to really like that location, so it was going to be maybe I would update with those two areas. oh boy, did that kind of expanded a little bit, considering I got a absolute ton of support for making the map. It was very encouraging, and I thought, well, I kind of feel obligated to make the rest of the ship now. Of course, I say obligated, I didn't actually feel obligated to do it. I wanted to do it, and my god, I think the overall process of this has been very enjoyable, and it's taught me a lot. It has taught me a lot about Blender, it has taught me a lot about Unity, because, and here's the kicker, when it comes to everything you're about to see as I go through this ship, barring one thing, everything here that you see was made by me. And I don't mean I found assets and used them. I mean I sculpted all of this myself in Blender. I put together all of the textures for everything. Not that there's actually that many, considering a lot of the assets are kind of gray with various pieces. It's a lot of lighting work. But I set up all of this myself. So I've actually been using Blender and Unity for, well, years at this point. And although I've done like avatars, you know, I've set up this is quite early on now, so I could probably do better, but you know, I've set up avatars, I've done commissions for people at this point, not a world yet. Well, technically I have, I don't know yet. I've done avatars, and yeah, I've had a lot of experience with the two programs. I've never decided to like push myself. I've never decided to try and take on a project which was maybe a lot larger in scope, and this was it. So literally the only thing I didn't make myself was this keyboard on the console here. This keyboard is something I got from Sketchfab, decimated to hell, so it's like not crazy. As you can see, the light baking has kind of made some of the keys red. We'll talk about that. This is going to be a bit of a different kind of video because I want to like go over some of the what I experienced when making it, you know? When it comes to the warp core room, the actual warp core itself was probably the most interesting thing to shape because it does have like layers to it. There's a lot of edging, cool shapes and stuff that it has to like really make it seem spacey, I guess. Mirror tool was very useful for this, to be able to get it pretty much looking exactly the same on all of them. So yeah, you know, I definitely think that was one of the things that really kind of helped me in this whole ordeal, was that I learned a lot about how Blender works and about how to optimize the way you do things to kind of get the result you want with not as much effort, right? The amount of times I had to basically go through and watch videos of Mark's, like, from all kinds of different perspectives, just to try and make sure I got things correct. For the longest time, I didn't have that keypad there because I didn't realize there was one there until I saw it way later, and I'm like, oh, I need to add that. Anyway, let's move on to the next room, which is the warp core hallway. Absolutely love the atmosphere of this hallway. Like, it is probably one of my favorite areas of the ship, just because of how cool it looks. It's actually quite big too. This is one of those ones where seeing it in VR is definitely recommended if you can. Obviously you don't have to. This works on desktop too. And this is probably, like, after I got this done, this is probably the room that made me be like, wow, I made this? Like, there's a lot of attention to detail in here that, like, I never thought I would actually get done. Like, all of the way the windows look, even stuff like, hang on, even stuff like this, right? I paid attention as best I could to what was shown in the series to be able to get these down as good as possible and set up the lighting correctly too. So there's like lighting coming in on the top of the grating, so it like casts a shadow. There's like orange lighting underneath there, blue lighting coming in from the sides, and then there's like orange light escaping the main reactor room. God, let me tell you, the thing that took the most time when it comes to making these things is light baking. Light baking is a nightmare. And there are other methods to get light baking, like there's Unity things you can get, plugins that make things easier, but it didn't give me the results I wanted. And technically the results that you see here aren't the results I wanted either, but to cut corners a little bit and to save my sanity, because I copied over some stuff, and I think there's a way to make light mapping in Blender so that it like shows lighting correctly. It's all technical stuff basically. Light mapping is basically just it taking the mesh and then projecting where light should be and how bright it should be and stuff like that. There is a way to do it properly in Blender. I don't know how to do that yet, so I had to kind of cheat in a way and make Unity render out its own light maps, which can't always get it correctly, but I think the results are satisfactory for what I want. Now when it comes to lighting, the main reactor is one of my favorites. As you can see, it like casts a really nice glow on me because the main reactor is this bright fucking thing here. And it looks awesome. I love how this room came out, honestly. It is really nice. Also, this table with all its stuff on it, hang on, let me turn off the auto level. There we go. Yeah, you see? I had to model all this in Blender. I had to model it all. Piping was one of the things I thought was going to be like the worst thing ever to make. It's actually pretty easy. Now that I know how to do it, like I can make cabling and pipe like that super easy. Around the ship are also references and like Easter eggs and stuff, essentially. This one being the big wrench that Bob's character plays has, and I thought that would be pretty good to be in the main reactor. There are some other objects that I kind of want to make eventually that I'll put in, Wug's helmet being one of them, but that's probably going to take a little bit, and I'll do that later down the line when I'm not doing other things, basically. And here is Cryo. Cryo is it was one of those rooms that was kind of hard to light, because in the actual show Cryo is quite bright. Like, it is actually quite bright, very blue as well, so I think I've got like the blue feeling down pretty well. The table on this one was a nightmare. There's lots of stuff on there, lots of little bits and bobs. The thing is, when it comes to seeing this, it's basically just flavor of what is, or what was in the actual show. You know, it's not accurate because I can only do so much. Plus, I did make it so that there are some cut corners, just because if I tried to make everything as detailed as it was in the show, this could this becomes less of a passion project and more of something that like I'm dedicating a lot of time to away from my other things. So you know, you get a nice middle ground of like, you know, amount of effort put into amount of time it's worth to get the point across. I think it does that well. One of my favorite little things is like the details, for example, you know, light coming out of the door from the main reactor room. Of course, these are just teleports. I could make the ship one entire unit, but that would require me to redo a lot of things in Blender and set it up correctly, and also set up so that the lights don't interfere with each other from the areas, stuff like that. It's a little bit more work. You have the main hallway leading up to the bridge. I really like how this one came out, and I think it's probably the most accurate to the show, I think. Was actually thinking of adding some more Easter eggs in here. For example, just outside of Cryo, I was thinking of putting like a big fleece jumper jacket thing there, like a big coat. Because, you know, that one area. Oh, that reminds me, I should put in the medal actually from... Because one of the things I loved about the outtakes was when the character, tried to put the medal on Mark, and in the outtakes it kept falling off. I was thinking of putting that somewhere. Also, one of the other little things that I like is that on Cryo there, you can see cold air escaping under the door. Now keep in mind, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, this is publicly available to go and explore now. Like if you type in Markiplier or In Space with Markiplier, something like that, it will come up and you can explore this right now. And it is Quest compatible as well. I made it a point to try and keep it Quest compatible and running fairly smoothly, and I've only had limited amount of Quest feedback, so from randos that I've seen in the map have told me that things run correctly. So if you guys check it out and have a Quest, do tell me if you run into anything. I can try and fix that. In here we have the asteroid defense system, sorry, which is the thing that protects the ship from asteroids. We have, I believe the character's name is Gunther. His glasses and 2 shotgun shells there from his like ammo straps essentially, and the don't button. This was an idea I had when a lot of people were going on about the don't that Markiplier said in the actual thing. He's like, don't. So you can press the button and it will do the don't. It's not the don't. It's not actually the don't. It's the one that was taken from, he did like a 10-year special thing where he basically goes through and plays it with his audience, and he recreates that because the actual don't has other things. I wanted one that's clean, so that way, you know, we have a don't that is clean. Don't. Of course, then we have life support. Really, nothing in here. It's just life support. It exists. I don't know if I planned on doing anything in here, but it's just nice. It's just a nice room. It's kind of green. It's got nice lighting. It's just a nice room. Again, modeled all this myself. Everything in here. The plants, they're basic as hell, but I made them myself. Originally, I was going to use some plants that I downloaded from Sketchfab, but I didn't. I chose against it, made them myself. Everything is from scratch. Some of the things that aren't from scratch are some texture assets like this. Like, I set up all this together and all the like the fancy MacGuffins on the other side, but like this plant diagram, this is something I just got from Google. But I put the textures together at least. And then we have the bridge. The bridge is, it probably was one of the harder maps, one of the harder things to make. Actually, in terms of the hardest rooms to make, Cryo was probably it because of that desk. That desk alone took me like half of the project time with that room. But yeah, this is the bridge. We have like lockers and stuff with some sticky notes. These are fairly new. These are updated in the last thing. There's one that's like don't open the door, which is a reference to one of the choices in there, as well as the core works, which is a hint to something that actually is available to go to in this map. This is also the only room that has a cutout mirror. And this cutout mirror allows you to basically just see yourself like a normal mirror, but you can still see space, which you might think there's a low quality mirror. And you might think, oh, okay, well, I can just do that anyway, which you can, but it's like lower quality to try and save on frames for questies. I love secrets and references and Easter eggs, so I have a few in here. One of them that I've added for PC only, unfortunately, because it uses post-processing, which is something Quest can't do. So unfortunately, if you're on a Quest, you can't do what I'm about to do. But if you interact with the hat and shot glass, it turns on Noir Mode. Now, Noir Mode makes everything black and white, but that's not all it does. Yes, it does. It makes everything black and white for your vision. It's local only, so if you want to see it yourself, you have to go and press the button or interact with the object. But that's not the only thing it does. If we actually go to ADS, you'll see that in ADS, when you have Noir Mode on, the turrets get hats. Which I actually think messed up the baking. Whoop. Which I actually think messed up the baking of these bad boys a little bit. Which I might fix. That's one of the things I might fix in the update I push. But they aren't the only thing that gets a hat. Oh, I'm going through all of the areas in Noir Mode. I will say this one blinds you. Noir Mode makes that one really blinding. But if we go back to the warp core, you'll see that the warp core also has a hat, which I haven't checked if that actually messes up the lighting at all. But there you go. See, everything has a hat in Noir Mode. It's very fun. Some things to note when you actually go into this world is that there are settings here. You can turn off the music that's playing by default, or swap it to the lyrical versions of what is played. So there's an orchestral version of Space is So Cool, and the lyrics of Space is So Cool, the orchestral version. Sorry, there's like the instrumental and then the lyrical versions, basically. And then you have The Last Goodbye, and then you can turn it off. You have ship ambience, so you can turn off the ship ambience. Also, if the footsteps are annoying, you can turn off the footstep sounds too. This one is post-processing. It's off by default, but if you turn it on, it increases the contrast a little bit, but then it actually makes things glow. So like if we go into this room now, everything is kind of glowing a bit because it adds bloom, right? It also makes some of these areas like kind of fit better. Like I feel like it fits better when it's slightly darker or a bit bloomy, you know. Especially in here, this place gets crazy bright, but that's kind of what it's like in the actual show. The same with Cryo. Cryo gets crazy, and I think it looks great, but it's an option. Unfortunately, not an option for Quest. Quest can't do bloom or post-processing, so unfortunately Quests lose out on this. But if you're on desktop or a PC, you can enjoy the kind of added bit of flair. So another thing that you can do is we have the airlock here. Oh shit, it's not like Darkiplier lighting in. We have the airlock here with a lever that if you hover over it, it says fix it from the outside. Oh dear. You die and respawn. One of the other things I've also got is if you interact with this, you go straight to the bridge in case you don't want to have to go through the ship to get to the bridge, for example. Just a quick way to get around. Last but definitely not least, if you interact with the actual warp core itself, it takes you to the void. Just the infinite darkness and the warp core and a mirror in case you want something a little bit, you know, of a darker area, kind of step away from the madness of the main ship, perhaps, just to like hang out here. Still hear the footsteps. That's ominous. What a project. It has been actually kind of wild. I've met a lot of really nice people Like a lot of really nice people that were encouraging and had nice things to say about my work. And honestly, I look at this and I'm like, it doesn't feel like I made this anymore. Like, it feels like something that would be far out of my scope. It might look simple to some, but to see this all come together has been absolutely wild. And I mean, the design of it was simple too, probably for ease of, you know, recording and creation of the actual series. But to like see it all here is kind of wild. You know, I walk through it and I think, did I really make this? But that's what this is for. This was kind of a over-ambitious idea for me that I didn't know if I was going to be able to do very well. But once I actually made the warp core and I heard such nice things and I thought it actually looked good, it encouraged me to continue. Tell you what, when I first made the warp core, before I even added the lighting, I thought it didn't look that good. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Lighting makes so much difference. Like, getting the lighting down turns it from just like, oh, it's a grey model with no, you know, no life. You add the lighting and oh my god, it transforms everything. Absolutely wild. And one of the biggest honors, I think, about making this whole thing was that Mark actually seemed to like it. He responded. He said it was, you know, he said it was cool. He retweeted my tweet about it. Probably the most liked tweet I've ever had in my life, and probably ever will have in my life. That thing reached like, I don't know how many likes it's at now, 13,000, something silly like that. It's wild, but just to like see him enjoy what I've made was a big motivator. It was good, because it means that he was also able to show it to other people that might be able to enjoy it too, you know. And I hope he sees the update. I would love to see him like come here and explore it himself. You know, I'd love to see what he thinks about it, his reactions to it. He's seen it in like, I don't know if he actually like watched much of the videos of me updating it, but yeah, it'd be really cool to see him go through it, because well, he would probably know it more than anyone. You know, he'd probably know like all the ins and outs. Maybe he would point out, oh, you missed this detail. Probably not. I don't know. It'd be one of those things where, like, I wouldn't mind going back and like doing the finer details. I'd need references though. I also hope they don't mind that I use the music, because like I found it obviously on YouTube, so I was able to get those and use them for the map. If that's an issue, I can always remove those. But I thought it fit. Honestly, it's kind of wild being in this position. It's been such a big project that I've had going, right, for a while. And we're done. I'm done. I want to add a few more. I have like a few more ideas for some silly little things I'm going to add later down the line. Though, knowing me, I'll probably get motivated to do it later in the week and I'll just do it then. But at least for now, I'm trying to move on to other projects. But I know there are other things I want to do, little Easter eggs and references. And it all started because I was inspired. You know, from Mark's series it was a big inspiration for me to push forward and to try and push myself creatively. Because I feel like that's what he did with a project as ambitious as that. I said, why not push the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with to try and get something. So, why not recreate something that motivated me? Either way, that's it. That's all I wanted to show off today. You can visit this world yourself if you want. Either if you look up my name on VRChat, which is MegaGWolf with spaces in between Mega G and Wolf, there's spaces in between them. You'll be able to either find the world from my profile, or if you just search Markiplier in the world search, you'll be able to find it. Tell me what you think. I would love to know if you've been here and what you think. If you've had any like interesting moments in here, and if you take any cool pictures, I would love to see them. I would love to see them. Tweet them at me at SuperGWolf. I would love to see them. And yeah, thanks for joining me on this little tour of mine. I'm actually really happy. I'm really happy with this. I'm glad it's over, because, you know, it's been a month-long project, but I am really happy with how it came out. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll see you next time. If you want to see more VRChat videos, 2 will be available in the end slate here. Click on those to continue watching. And until next time, take care. Hey, thanks, bye.